So home is such a loaded word, I think. It's been a loaded word all my life because it's I've never felt at home anywhere, but I've always been at home everywhere because I've learned how to adapt. I've learned how to almost sometimes think of myself as a chameleon, but not in a bad way. Um, in a way that I don't get singled out as being not from here. And that feels like so. I grew up in Nigeria and I was Indian, so I was in many situations, like in the situation of um, in secondary school, I was the only brown person. I was the only Indian in the school. It was a boarding school with Nigerian girls, and they all hung out together. And my mom was a teacher there, so we lived on campus. So I went home, and so I was the only day student, and I was kind of gawky, um, and had crushes on people and didn't realize. Um, so I didn't feel like, even though I was obviously like a student there, I didn't really feel like I belonged. And then I went to Ireland, and I was like one of the few brown people in a sea of white people. And I was there for so many years. And when I went first, it was in the 80s. And uh, I'll never forget landing on the Galway train station, coming from like the heat to this just really, really cold space. And um, I became an Irish citizen, and I so wanted to be Irish. And a lot of the time, I took on a lot. I lived there for 30 years, and I took on a lot of Irishness, but because of my skin color, I was never really, I would have friends say, "Yeah, you're Irish, but," and I realized that, you know, now I'm somewhere where I'm home because I have a house, I have my pets, and I've decided to lay down roots.
Honey, 3 months together and so wonderful. And I would like to present you to my parents. Yeah, you guess.
You know,
They're not so used to. I'm sorry, I now excuse for my own parents, which feels really terrible. And they're really lovely people, but it's a bit.
Philip, I'm glad that you want me to meet your parents, but I have got to warn you that I've never had a good experience.
Hmm.
Because it's always like a different culture,
It is.
and I don't want you to be upset.
Yeah, I will be in between, but that's how it is. I want you, and these are my parents, and we have to bring this together. It's important for me. You're now such an important life in my life, and such important part in my life. I need you, and
So the only time I felt at home is in the last 3 months with you,
wow.
and I'm scared that once you see me through your parents' eyes, and I'm different, it's going to take away my only home.
You're so wonderful, different. It's why I fall in love with you. It's you're such a special person. And yeah, you're
Think about
right. It will be not easy.
think about this. Like, they're going to immediately assume what everyone assumes is that you fell in love with me because I'm different, I'm exotic,
Mm.
you know? Like, all my boyfriends used to take me home as this trophy, that, and not trophy because of who I am, but
I know what
just
you
like I
mean.
was the only one that looked like this. So you catch the only one who looks like this, and you get to be like somebody different. And that would be so hard if it was you that.
Oh, for me, this is fine. It's just, do you want to get into that position that I present you to my parents?
Isn't that what is going to happen? Isn't that what everyone does?
That's the thing everyone does. We don't have to do that. I want to do that because I want to be there. I want to say, this is my girlfriend, and this is now family. This is now home, and they have to understand that. And when they see you, I don't want to lie to them. I don't want to tell them it's all different. I want to be real, and I want us to be real.
So put yourself in this position. You were home with them. They were your home for a very long time, right? You get on with your parents. And so what they feel and how they see things is important to you. And then one day you take me there and they see, you know, I mean, they're looking out for you and they're saying, if our son ends up with someone so different, then maybe his life won't be so happy, and then maybe those thoughts will start to go through your own head that maybe I'm
I
too
will
different.
risk it. I will risk it.
Will you risk what happens in your own mind? I'm not worried about your parents.
Mm.
I'm worried about how you will see me after this. Like, have you ever been in a room? Have you ever been in a room where you have your one friend and you're different, and you see the embarrassed look in that friend's eyes when they go into a group?
Mm.
I couldn't bear that.
Oh, it's difficult, but I decided.
Yeah?
Whatever comes, we hold hands, and this is a symbol for me. It's
So, can I do one thing then?
mhm.
Philip, will you marry me?
Of course, of course. That's so great.
Well, if you're prepared to go through all of that,
I am. I don't know what will come, but I'm prepared, and I promise you, we make it work. Somehow we will make it. It will be not easy, but it will.
so we'll make it our home.
Cultures, religions, color of skin, man and woman. We have so many ideas how we separate people from each other. I I was always somewhere in the world. I lived always in my place where I am, but I was always traveling and seeing and meeting people. So it took me a bit of time, of course, to understand how it is to be not to not look at the differences, but to look at what what is the same, or what is interesting, what is. It's so hard to find words for it. And now I'm more curious than frightened, because the foreign thing can be also very frightened. But once you get curious, you get interested, you meet people from one to one. And now I meet so many people, like I I met my friend Rejini here, and she's so wonderful, and she gives me so much to think. It's thank you, Rejini.